Good evening. We are back to the study of the Spirit's book. We started last week, chapter 4 of book 3, the moral laws, which is the law of reproduction. But we just covered a couple of questions. We are going to go back to them so we can start from the beginning of the chapter, okay? So we're going to start on question 686. Philip. You can read the first two questions, please.
Right. Is the reproduction of living beings a natural law? Of course. The physical world would die without reproduction. 687. If the global population continues to grow as it has up until now, will it become too large over the course of time? No. God always maintains a balance and does not make allowances for anything useless. The human species sees only a small corner of the universe, and as such, it is unable
to recognize the harmony of the whole. Thanks, Philip. No problem.
Sorry, I can't see the screen at the moment.
Yeah, no problem. So we discussed both these questions last week, and we mentioned that the reproduction of living beings here, when we are talking about living beings, we're talking about plants, we're talking about animals, we are talking about humans. And this is a natural law. Reproduction is a natural law, is instinctive in plants and animals. It is partially instinctive on humans, but also use their intelligence, right? But it's a natural desire to reproduce that most humans have in animals and plants is a natural process. So it is a natural law, right? Now, when we talk about the global population, again, remember this was written in 1857 when the global population was probably around 1.5 billion people, right? So, and it was already growing, and Kardec shows this concern about if it would become too large over the course of time. 150 years later or 170 years later, we are 8 billion people, and there's still space, and the population continues to grow. If we follow the projections, and again, projections are futurology based on the state of things today and the progress until today. So it says that the population of the globe will reach something probably like 10.5 billion people, and that stop growing, right? We already have China, who used to be the largest population on Earth. It's no longer the largest, it's the second one. They are now fighting to have more births, right? Because for many years they had the one-child law, but now they are giving incentives to grow the population. India, which is the largest country by population nowadays, doesn't make any controls, and they continue growing at a decent level. Most of the so-called civilized countries in the world are having problem in growing the population. You have negative growth in countries like Italy, Germany, France, which is compensated by immigration, right? But the population will continue to grow. The problem with the growth of population is food, right? But we know that we produce enough food, because there was also a concern by the end of the 19th century that there will be a shortage of food, because at that time food was growing arithmetically and population was growing exponentially. Now food grows exponentially because we increase the production, we develop the defense mechanisms, better products. So we have enough food for all the population of the globe. The problem is the distribution of food and the politics of the distribution of food. A lot of food is wasted. We waste I think I read 1/3 of the food we buy nowadays, we eat here in this country, right? In general. So you see that how much waste we are creating. And there are people still dying of hunger. I'm not talking about people victims of wars and what's happening in Gaza. I'm talking about Africa, some countries in Africa where you have people struggling to find food, right, to survive. It's because we cannot efficiently deliver food to them for political and other reasons that we're not going to get into it. So as we evolve as humans, as spirits, as we become more illuminated spirits, we will slowly be able to solve these problems, to be more efficient in solving, because the moment we think a little less about ourselves, the selfishness, and start thinking more about our human civilization, our brothers and sisters throughout the world, we are going to be more efficient in distributing food and taking care of those in need. We already are much better than at the time of Kardec, right? Because at that time, if you didn't have help from external help, you probably struggled to survive for very long. Nowadays, the majority of the countries have somehow some systems of helping and assisting the needy population, not all of them efficiently, a lot of them very inefficiently, but at least is a start. We are starting to take care of it and to develop ourselves in the sense of finding better ways of addressing those issues of population and of food distribution. Okay? Right? Okay, Philip, can you see now?
Yes.
All right.
688.
Yeah.
Succession and development of the human race. There are groups of humans today that are rapidly vanishing from the face of the earth. Will they eventually disappear? Yes, but this will only happen because others will have taken their place, just as you will also one day be replaced by others.
Okay, here we're talking about us physical beings, right? So group of humans rapidly vanishing is the physical beings, the races. It's not the spirit. The spirit is immortal. We go back to the spiritual world. We don't disappear. We never disappear. So if we study science and we see the development of how did we get here with this physical body, we see that this physical body, the study science continues to find different avenues. And I was reading today that the concept that we divided somewhere with in the apes and humans is already been questioned, because there was a time that the origin of both those races was, they are finding evidence that there were humans already, or that time humans already with this ancestor. So again, science continues to research, develop, but we know that our physical body is changing, will continue to change. 1,000 years from now, if we look at our physical body of today, we are going to find it very primitive in a way, right? Very rudimentary, but it is already a progress from what we had 50,000 years ago, right? So the concept here is others will take in their place, the physical aspect, the spirit keeps reincarnating in better versions of the physical body, replaced by better versions, right? So it doesn't really make much difference for the spirit. The only difference is, of course, we all like new car, right? We always like to change the old car for a new car. We will like to change our physical body for a better version of our physical body with less issues, right? And that's what we are going to get in the future, right? So there is there's not much space to question the extinction of races by natural causes. That's very important, by natural causes, not extermination. That's a different story. Extermination is always a problem, but replacement, and when we are more and more mixing races, right? There was an article in New York Times, I never forgot, like 15 years ago, that said, in the future, we will all be Brazilians. In the sense of the mixture that Brazilians have nowadays of different races, right? Because we have the natives, we have the African civilization, we have the Europeans, and they are all mixing Brazil, right? And we are mixing more and more, little less in in Asia, right? In the China, but still there is mixing there, and so if you keeps mixing for hundreds and hundreds of years, you are moving towards one race, basically, right? In terms of physical appearance, the spirits will always be different, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important to mention natural processes that will happen naturally. That's extremely important.
Yes.
Through miscegenation, primarily mixing race, and by natural processes of genetics with groups, some of the Asians, some of the Kenyan, that persist and keep only among themselves. They will have tremendous amount of genetic problems because they are not able to open themselves to other communities, and they will limit their own survival by not opening themselves to other ethnicities.
Yeah. Okay.
689.
Yeah.
Are the human beings currently living on Earth a new creation or the improved descendants of prehistoric human beings? They are the same spirits that have come back to improve themselves in new bodies, but who are still very far from reaching perfection. The current human race that is slowly invading the Earth and replacing pre-existing humans will one day decline in number and disappear. It will be replaced by others, more perfect races that will be descendants of the present race, as civilized men and women today are derived from the primitive people of prehistoric times.
Again, it's a little more of what we're discussing here, right? They are the same spirits that have come back to improve themselves in new bodies. The bodies are better, the spirits are the same. Not exactly the same, because we're always evolving. So it's better versions of the spirits, always progressing morally, intellectually, right? But it's the same spirits. And we have to look at this answer from the perspective of the spirits answering this in 1857, right? When this scientific advancement on the research of human races was still in the very early stages, right? We were still finding the first humans on Earth, and we were not able to calculate how long ago they had lived. Nowadays, with carbon date, with all these advancements of science, we can pinpoint phases of the evolution of the human race, right? When we found this Lucy that is here in the Natural History Museum, was a huge advancement, right? Which is Lucy is the original human for a very long time. Nowadays they found more of Lucys. Yeah, more other Lucys, right?
Even older.
Even older than Lucy, yes. Yeah, I was reading today that they found a human in I think in China. Yeah, that is they found that it was living at the time of of the prehistoric races, not dinosaurs, long after dinosaurs,
Yeah,
but
Homo erectus.
yes, yeah. So, but again, we're talking about physical body, and it's important to repeat. Our physical body descends from this evolutionary path. We spirits, we don't. We started somewhere else, and we came to Earth later. The vast majority of us, almost all the spirits who are incarnated or around Earth, had their first incarnation in other planets, according to Emmanuel. Okay.
But for human race, the evolution is a spiritual progress. It is the spirit that progress that now is able to produce a more refined perispirit, and that perispirit is then generate a more refined physical body.
Yes.
It starts with the spirit.
Yes. Very good. Very good point. Yeah, it's very important, right? It's not that
It's not the other way around.
it's not that the other way around. It's not that we are gifted with a better physical body. We are building the better
We are
physical.
making it.
Yeah, we are making the better physical body. Yes,
I have a question.
sure.
Those new people that invading the earth, are they reincarnations from ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Silly question.
The people that the spirits that are here today are reincarnation. Is that the question? Sorry,
Yeah.
let me
Yeah,
make sure to the question.
but are we, the ones that are here now, are we actually reincarnations of previous existences on Earth?
Yes, most of the spirits incarnated on Earth are not here for the first time, are here for the tenth time, right? We all have been reincarnating on Earth for a very long time, most of us, right? Some spirits may be new to Earth, but the reason is very simple, right? We need to evolve and we need to progress close to the ones that we love and that we have issues with. You know, if I'm sent from here to I don't know, a distant galaxy by myself, can I progress? Can I find progress there? Yes, but I don't have anyone that is close to me on either side, you know, positive or negative, to address the issues that I have, right? So that's why, you know, you go, and that's very interesting when I think, I don't remember who said that when we leave the planet to a less evolved planet, we go in groups. When we evolve, it's an individual problem. We make the choice if we evolve enough to move to another more advanced world. We can do it by ourselves. It's an individual process. But when we are removed from a planet that we can no longer inhabit because the vibration of the planet evolves and we don't evolve with the planet, it's a group of spirits that are put together. Why? Because in that group of spirits, you have the need to be with each other to readjust and to deal with the issues. Okay? Yes, Paco.
So you're telling me that the group of people on planet Earth that are not keeping up with the rates of progress will be reincarnated in another dimension that is less advanced. That's what you said. Okay.
Yes.
And you're also saying that the group of people that are kind of advancing in their journey will be reincarnated in a much more advanced dimension.
If they want.
If they're progressing themselves.
Yes, if they want. So, because there is a famous, one of the most important spiritists, Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, a Brazilian spiritist that was the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation in the turn of the 19th to the 20th century, and is the guiding and protecting spirit of many of spiritist centers in Brazil. It is said that he had the opportunity to go to a more evolved world, but he decided to stay back because he wanted to help those here.
Okay, that's kind of a mission. But now I'm asking now from that middle group. Okay, not the ones behind, not the ones that are advanced. There will be a group that is advancing at the rate that my mention itself is advancing.
Yes.
And they will remain here.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the majority of us.
So you could say that a spirit can remain on dimension Earth for many possible reincarnations, many reincarnations.
Very, very long time, yes. You know, because the evolution of one thing that is important to understand here, as we talk about the world changing from a world of trials and atonements to a world of regeneration.
Yeah.
It's not Earth physically that is changing, it's the spirits on Earth that are changing collectively that will make the planet a world of regeneration. The world
yes.
right?
Definitely.
We are going to take better care of the planet, yes. We're going to make it better for all of us, yes. But it's a collective effort. It's not changing by itself. It's us changing and evolving that will make the planet a world of regeneration. Okay? All right.
690.
Yeah.
From a purely physical standpoint, are the bodies of humans today a unique creation, or are they advanced versions of the bodies of the prehistoric races? The origin of the various human races is lost in the night of time. However, as they all belong to the human family, they have formed alliances with one another and produced new types, regardless of the prehistoric root of each.
Yeah. Here again, talking from purely physical standpoint, right? The bodies of humans today is an evolution of the bodies of humans from prehistoric times. When the Spirit says the origin of the various human races is lost in the night of time, you see the 27 there. The note here on the bottom says that the manual provides enlightenment information about the history of humanity, summarize the major events that have marked the evolution of the people on Earth in the book On the Way to the Light that we studied already, right? So Emmanuel goes a little deeper into that, but it doesn't change the fact that what the spirits said here, that the origin of various human races is lost in the night of time. It is not wrong. We're still trying to find how it was exactly, right? And we still are evolving in finding and even contradicting previous discoveries, because you discover something and you build a theory on top of that discovery, right? And then you find something new and it clashes with the theory you built on that previous discovery, so you have to build a new theory. That's the sense they are talking about, is lost in the night of time, right? But again, we all belong to the human family, and we talked about this, the evolution of the races, not the spirit. We're talking about races, okay?
It is impressive that the answer of the spirit say, however, they all belong to the human family. They have formed alliances with one another and produced new types. This is exactly the current discussion about our formation today, is those alliances, those miscegenations that we spoke in the beginning of what would be considered different types of prehistoric humans, like the Homo erectus, that one that was just discovered, and now that there is a name, I forgot the name of it, and the ones in Europe, the big bone ones of the big bones especially in Europe.
I don't know. I don't know
Yes,
the
it
names.
As we go, it comes to my mind soon.
Neanderthal? No, probably not.
Right, exactly, Neanderthals.
Yeah.
Because at one point, there was a belief that they are always separated, they would not unite. Now you have enough evidence to say that they did mix among themselves.
They found DNA that tells that that comes from both sides, right?
Yeah, and it is through this miscegenation that the spirits created the alliances that they united form a better instrument of work, another human body than the one that we have today.
Yeah, and one, it's just a reminder how important is the work of science, right? And everything we know today, it may be different from, it will be completely different from what we will know in 100 years, in 500 years. But you need to build the blocks, right? You need to, that's how science progresses. Finding discoveries, and studying the discovery, building theories on top of the discoveries, because otherwise we can't study, right? We need to read the reports, right? Because if they study and write the report and said, well, but this is going to change, I'm not going to publish, we don't go anywhere, right?
That's why the Spirit's book is perpetually current. Because what they say over here, these alliances generate new forms of bodies, is perpetual. It didn't give any denominations, it didn't give any names of this or that group.
Race is not.
Races. And now we are coming to study exactly what the Spirit told us in 1857.
Yeah. And again, I'm always continue to stress, we're talking here about the physical body.
Physical body.
Yes, we're not talking about the spirit. We're talking about the physical body.
Sorry, that the doggies, the poodles, they have they used to, I don't know about now, but they used to have really bad teeth or their hips were off. And then now that they're starting to mix them with other like Labradors or the golden
Retriever.
yeah. So they're starting to mix with other dogs. Now they have a better chance to have better teeth and better hips. And it'll happen like that, not just with animals, but it'll happen with a human.
Yeah, Nilsa is talking about the dogs, right? The improved breeds of dogs that they have been working on to improve the quality of the teeth, of the hips, and things like that. And that this is eventually going to be, well, it's not eventually, it's already used. Genetics is already working on that, right? And we're going to study science here in a couple of questions. They're going to talk, Kardec is going to ask the spirits exactly about that, right? So
you see here the law of moral progress as well, because at one point we use genetics. Think only of us. We want to have good-looking dogs. We don't care about the dogs. Now you think of the dogs. What about the health of the dog?
Yeah.
What about the bone structure of the dog? How can you use genetics, engineering to produce healthier animals for them, not for us anymore? This is tremendous amount of progress there.
And actually, the question that Kardec asked in the Spirit's answer in a couple of questions is going to address more or less exactly what you both said. Yeah. 691.
From a physical standpoint, what are the unique and dominant characteristics of prehistoric races? They are characterized by the development of physical power to the detriment of intellectual power. Right now, the opposite occurs. Human beings act through their intelligence rather than through their bodily strength and accomplish 100-fold more than they did in the past because they have learned to leverage the forces of nature, which animals cannot do.
It's an interesting question, right? So if you go look at the prehistoric races, the characteristics, right? What did you need to survive to be strong, right? You need to defend yourself. You need to avoid attacks from others. Did you need intelligence? Well, basic intelligence to learn from what you are doing and to defend yourself better next time, yes. But it's very basic intelligence, right? So physical power to the detriment of intellectual power. Nowadays, everyone is focused on the intellectual development. There's a lot of people that still like to develop their physical power, right? This is why the gyms and academies are there for you to develop your physical body. But even the majority of people that work into getting better physically are not thinking about using the physical power, but just for different reasons, for a better physical body, right? But nowadays, of course, as they said here, using the intelligence rather than bodily strength, and accomplish 100-fold more than they did in the past. So our intellectual progress, has been very fast in the last 200 years since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and continue to be so, right? We are progressing faster than we are able to make sense of it, and with this come a lot of issues that we will have to address eventually, and part of our learning progress. Then we go to science.
692. Does using science to improve vegetables and animals contradict the law of nature? Would it be more compliant with that law to allow them to follow their natural course? All beings must contribute to help general progress move forward in every way possible. God employs the human race as instruments for the perfection that is the goal of everything in nature. The act of assisting in this process of improvement is the way in which humanity can participate in carrying out divine plans. In their efforts to improve various species, humans are normally motivated by self-interest and have no goal other than increasing their own personal happiness. Does this not diminish the merit of their actions? What does it matter if their merit is insignificant, as long as progress is accomplished? It is up to them to make their labor admirable by their intention. Nevertheless, these improvements help human beings develop their intelligence and derive the greatest value from their efforts.
Okay. So the question here, when we use science to improve our lives, could be plants, vegetables, are we contradicting the God's law, the natural law? Because the second part, if would be more compliant with that law, that to follow their natural course. If we had let the law follow the natural course, we would still be living in caves, right? So we are always using our intelligence to improve the quality of our lives. And that includes plants and animals. We are trying to improve vegetables, plants, so we can eat better, we can defend nature, again, with all the problems that we are faced with it, but we're not going to talk about problems, because the intention is to improve the quality of our lives. And with animals, as Nilsa said, we are also learning how to take better care of them, like I almost said, for themselves. It was for us before, but it's for themselves. So no, we cannot allow nature take its course. We follow the natural law, trying to apply the natural law, but using our intelligence. The act of assisting this process of improvement is the way in which humanity can participate in carrying out divine plans. We are all co-creators. And being co-creators in a very small part of God's creation, we are also doing our part in helping the progress of humankind, the progress of civilization, the progress of the planet. And then Kardec asks, but isn't this selfish? right? You're doing this to improve your quality of life. Isn't it selfish? And the Spirit says, what does it matter if their merit is insignificant, as long as progress is accomplished? This is very important. This is a concept that we have to apply to everything here, right? Because sometimes when we talk about great figures, human figures, there are some criticism of how they behaved in their personal lives. And as long as the progress is achieved and their delivery helps humankind, their own personal problems is their own personal problems. It's not, if Martin Luther King was not a good husband, which is, he's been accused many times, it's something that he has to deal himself, right? His family has to deal with it also. The benefit he brought to us as humankind is way and above these personal problems that we all have. We are imperfect spirits, right? So we have to be able to separate this. If we are trying to help humankind progress and we are doing it for selfish reasons, that's on me. But if I can benefit humankind, the benefit for humankind will, it's not going to eliminate my personal actions, because I'm responsible for my own feelings, my actions, and my intentions. But the help and assistance that I will get in terms of others that are benefited, right? You can imagine Martin Luther King being received in the spiritual world. You know, if you have 5 accusers with 100,000 well-wishers, what prevails, right? It's the same thing with everything. And this is very important. This concept here is very important. If their merit, if the progress is accomplished, it doesn't matter if they are motivated by self-interest, because in the end, we are imperfect spirits. We have self-interest. We want to do things because we want to benefit personally from them. There are very few of us that a Mother Teresa that can do for the benefit of others, because it's what she is, right? And even her, people that lived with her, she was very difficult to live with because she was so focused and driven to achieve what she needed to achieve. She didn't allow people to prevent her from going after what she needed to achieve. And of course, when you do that, you ruffle feathers. That's just natural, right? But imperfect spirits, we need to, sometimes it's important, we need to ruffle feathers. We cannot please everybody. Look at Jesus. Jesus was crucified, right? And if he couldn't please everybody, who are we to please everybody? We, as long as we have a clean conscience and we are sure that we are doing the best according to our abilities, we are going the right path.
With the right intentions.
Right intentions.
This sense is that it is up to them, or up to us, right, to make their labor admirable by their intentions.
Yeah, exactly.
Very important. The beauty about science is that science is not perfect. Science makes mistake, but science corrects itself.
Yes.
That's the very important thing here.
Yeah, and if you go to when the Spiritist book was written, right? Science had just freed itself from religion. And the ability to correct itself was something that it didn't have, right? Because when Copernicus and Galileo said that Earth went around the sun and not the sun around Earth, Copernicus was killed, and Galileo had to retreat not to get killed, which, you know, is intelligent on his side, right? Now you get to the 19th century, when science could say things, be attacked, correct itself. 2 years after the publication of the Spirit's book, you have Darwin with the theory of evolution, right? Darwin was a very religious person. If you read his history, He struggled a lot before publishing his work. He was not comfortable in publishing his work because he knew he went against religion, and he was not sure that he wanted to fight against religion. But in the end, you know, logic and good sense prevailed, and he decided to publish because he was right at that time. Of course, not everything that Darwin published at that time is right today, but it doesn't matter. For that time, everything he published was perfect for that time, right? So, and then
Since then, science have corrected a few things on the work of Darwin.
but basically,
No,
yeah,
the whole thing is extremely advanced for the time.
yeah,
And even with the minor errors, was tremendous evolution for us.
yeah.
And science makes sure to make the necessary correction as we discover the errors we corrected.
Yeah, that scientist Neil deGrasse, which is very famous today, right? He says that the biggest genius, in his opinion, was Newton, because Newton built what he built out of nothing. He didn't have anything around. Einstein, that built on top of Newton, had Newton and had some freedom at that time. Newton had nothing, and he built everything from nothing. Again, we can talk about Leonardo da Vinci also, right? Which was another
Pythagoras,
genius. Pythagoras, yes, also. But you see, it's interesting, right? If you are on the right side of history, you stay. You stay, right? If you're the wrong side of history, you are forgotten. And but we don't learn from that, right? We keep repeating our mistakes, and we keep placing ourselves on the wrong side of history. The law is of progress. That is a natural law. We are going to study that. The law is of progress. We cannot stand against progress. Are there abuses in progress? Yes. But the ability to learn from the mistakes and abuses and correct them is what makes us continue progressing. Okay? All right. Obstacles to reproduction.
693. Do the laws society create to hamper reproduction conflict with the laws of nature? Whatever thought's nature conflicts with the general law. For many species of animals and vegetables, unrestricted reproduction would be harmful to other species and would be destructive to the human race. Is it wrong for humankind to stop their reproduction? God has given human beings over all the other living beings on the planet a power that should be used for the general good and not for abuse. They may regulate reproduction according to their needs, but they should not completely obstruct it without good reason. Human intelligence is a counterweight granted by God for restoring balance to the forces of nature. Once again, humans are set apart from animals because they are conscious of this process, while animals unconsciously contribute to maintaining the balance of nature through their instinct of destruction. This animal instinct, while maintaining their survival, also causes them to stop the excessive development of the animals and vegetables that they consume, which would otherwise become an imminent source of danger.
Yeah. So the question here is how we society are preventing the natural laws on reproduction to go their natural course. And the answer from the spirits is very simple, right? Whenever we are causing harm to the natural progress, we are conflicting with the general law. But then, right, on the second question, when we talk about unrestricted reproduction that are harmful to other species, nature is perfect in the sense that there are animals that eat other animals, that eat plants, and everything goes in the natural cycle, right? Now, humans disrupt these cycles and creates problems for nature, right? In terms of animals and in terms of plants. But again, our intention being to create better conditions for humankind to live on this planet, it's mostly the right intention. Of course, when we are destroying things just for the sake of destroying, we are going against the natural law. It's what the spirits are trying to tell us here. So if we are trying to create better crops, if we're trying to create better living conditions for the animals, we are trying to prevent destructions of places of nature by controlling the reproduction of animals or reproduction of plants, everything we're doing to protect nature and to help us grow and evolve, it is in the right path. Everything that is causing destruction and causing harm to the planet, it's going against the natural law. Again, we don't know a lot, so we are going to make mistakes, but we create karma, is like for ourselves. We create karma when we know we are making a mistake and we are making it anyway, right? If I'm destroying some part of a forest for survival, because I need to survive, and because I need to survive, I need to destroy some trees and build some to harvest. The intention is not to destroy, the intention is to survive. So there is nothing wrong with that. The problem is on the destruction, for instance, of the Amazon forest. It's an industrialized destruction made for selfish benefits. That's the problem, right? Because it's not the small little farmer that is destroying, putting down trees around his small farm, small ranch, that is causing the destruction of the Amazon forest. It is the large scale destruction done by those that sell wood, right? What they call madeireiras. Yeah, the companies that sell wood that benefit from that. So again, we are affecting nature. It's part of what we do as humans, right? Nature is we are moving in different directions. We are changing things. There is climate change. There is all sorts of things, but the fact that we recognize nowadays that there are problems is the first step to address the problems, right? Because 50 years ago, we never talked about smoking causing cancer or damaging lungs, right? We didn't stop smoking, we reduced a lot, but we addressed the problem and we have find ways to deal with the problem. It's the same thing with nature, right? We are destroying nature, yes. Are we working hard to find ways to protect nature? Yes, we are, right? People say, oh, everything is lost. We lost too much time. No. And again, these people that defend nature, right? Because you have one side people that say, oh, we're not doing anything bad. It's just the progress. And you will have other side people saying, you are destroying nature. We won't be able to survive in 100 years' time. They need to say that. That's what's important for us. If they come and say, oh, we're doing a little damage to nature, we need to take better care, nobody's going to pay attention. You have to make noise even if the noise is not really what's happening, right? So that's how we listen. We listen to people screaming. That's how we take care of it. So we are working on it. It's progress. Sometimes difficult to see, but it's progress. Okay. Okay, last one for today.
694. What should we think of contraceptive methods created solely to satisfy sexual desires? They prove the power of the body over the soul and show how deeply human beings have become immersed in their material existence.
Yes, it's predomination of instinct over over right emotions, right? Love, which is the ample sense of taking care of each other. It's not instinctive. It's something we develop, we learn, it becomes part of us. So it's interesting that they are talking about contraceptive methods in 1864. I don't even know what type of contraceptive methods they had at that time, but we have better contraceptive methods today, right? But again, we are still driven by sexual instinct, sexual desire. It's one of the primordial instincts that we have, and that most of us have a lot of difficulty in educating, right? That's why there is so much of controversy around the issue still today, and it's more open, the discussions today, but of course, it existed at all times. You just have to watch movies from the Roman Empire and from the Greek civilization. It was already happening. Everything that happens today was already happening there. So the desperate housewives of some place was the desperate housewives of Athens 2,500 years ago. Doesn't change much. So again, contraceptive methods, to use it, to be useful for the right reasons, they are an important part of our development as human beings, right? Abuses is always the issue, okay? Right?
So contraceptives, let me clarify this for me. Contraceptives for good reason, it's okay. Contraceptives for the sole purpose of sex is not okay.
And that's
It's okay.
it's okay also, right? It's just you know, it, as long as we recognize that is you know, it's the instinct prevailing over reason, right? Because if you in a true relationship, right, sex would be the consequence of true love between two individuals, and then contraceptive would be used to regulate and to adjust your necessities, right, according to procreation and everything. Now, contraceptive use it just for sexual pleasure is it's the issue that they are addressing here,
No,
right?
but that's very good. At this, you know, in whatever 1850s, that's quite advanced, don't you think?
Yeah, the spirits knew what they're talking about. It's incredible.
Yeah, I get it is incredible. We're talking about 1850. Wow.
Well, contraceptive there at that time was no sex, right? Okay, so we leave marriage and celibacy for Elmo next week. Good luck, Elmo.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll stop here. For those, I'm not going to be here because I'm going to Uruguay for the World Spiritist Congress that happens the weekend, next weekend, 4th and 5th in Uruguay, okay?
That's a world conference?
Well, yeah, Congress, yes. It's World Spiritist Congress, number 13, 11, 11, the 11th,
How
11th,
many do they do it? How many years?
every 3 years.
Every what?
3 years.
Every 3 years? Okay.
Yeah, and this is the 11th. Last one was virtual, was supposed to be in Paris, but was virtual. And the one before that was in Mexico.
They never had it here in the States?
Never. We tried a couple of times, but the visa issue is scarce.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but
Yeah, now it's even more difficult. But the next one, they alternate between Europe and America. So next one will be in Europe. In 28 will be in Europe. Then in 31, maybe the US, if we have changed a lot of things here. So this Sunday is the last Sunday of the month. We will have our Q&A session. You can bring your questions to Elmo, and he'll be happy to answer them. And this Saturday, the lecture that we have from the United States Spiritist Federation is from Yuri Castro. For those that saw him speaking at the symposium last weekend, he's a very good young speaker. And he's going to talk about to speak or to be silent. That's something that we all can learn from, right? When to speak.
Nowadays, especially nowadays.
Especially nowadays, agreed. So let's listen to him on Saturday, 11 a.m. through the United States Spiritist Federation YouTube page. The book club next week, chapter 20 of the book A Light in the Darkness by Joana de Angelis and Divaldo. How many chapters there are in the book, Dani?
I don't remember. I think about 30, 36, 40.
Oh, that much.
We are in the middle towards the end. I think about maybe 18, tops 20 more chapters.
Okay. All right. So we're not close to starting a new book. It's still a couple of months more.
We are predicting we finish this book around November.
All right. Thank you. Carol, can you do our final prayer?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John. Thank you, Elmo. Thank you, Philip, for reading for us. And thank you, everyone, for participating. Infinite Creator and Divine Providence, we give thanks to be together again for our studies of the Spirit's Book, Book 3, Chapter 4, The Law of Reproduction. All living beings reproduce, plants, animals, and humans. Life continues here and in the hereafter. It's the natural law. God maintains a natural balance in population with a blending of races and genetics. Spirits will reincarnate as a better version of themselves from prior lives. We need to progress near to the ones that we are close to and to improve and progress upon needed lessons and challenges. Collectively, we the people will assist the planet Earth to become a planet of regeneration. Science can help us improve the quality of our lives, our animals, our food production and distribution. Progress is important to humanity in carrying out the divine plan or plans. Humans are conscious and may regulate reproduction, hopefully for the greater good and not for destructive purposes. We give thanks to our spiritual benefactors and the good spirits for guiding and inspiring us this evening. May we receive the love, light, and peace of Christ within us, and for our loved ones, our teachers, our directors, our counselors, our mediums, our workers, and all participants. We pray for inner peace, and especially now for world peace, and for those who are suffering in the physical and spiritual worlds. We pray for our center SGNY and all spiritual centers throughout the world, that they may grow, prosper, expand, and be protected throughout the day and throughout the night. As we close, we humbly ask for safety and protection as we return to our family, friends, loved ones, and coworkers. May we go forth now as beacons of love, light, peace, and charity, which is love in action. May peace and love prevail. So be it.